Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next 2 hours, along with Spence.
I'm having trouble tuning. You said you're tuned to?
Yeah, you are
I
tuned.
can't find the dial.
But
is not.
don't worry
working.
about it because
Right.
you're here.
I am.
Don't worry.
Okay.
And Nick is here.
I was also having trouble tuning. Then I did my digital TV rescan, and I was good to go. So
And it
Spence, try rescan.
Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. I thought Gal was going to be back today, but he may be back and still asleep, jet lag.
Did you pay him? Did you send the? Maybe he didn't get his Christmas bonus, and he's a little upset.
Oh, and he's pissed. Yeah, and he's going to come and egg the studio.
Egg the studio.
Yeah. Toilet paper, the yard.
That actually, God, that would take forever. Amnon's got 1,000 trees.
And you'd need a launcher to get them up at the top of the trees, 100 feet high.
Who's got a Sam's Club membership and go buy some single ply?
So, what do you think? Are we ending the decade, or are we starting a new decade? Both.
Mathematically.
I was reading a bunch of different things. People say, no, it's not the beginning of a new decade. It's the end of the first. So
we went through this with Y2K.
Yeah.
And it's not really the new century yet. What are you talking about? Who cares? Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some people get really wrapped around it, though.
That's okay.
They have nothing better to do. I mean,
yeah.
Every year, manufacturers get to make New Year's Eve goodies that say the new year. So from their perspective, everything's good. Right? You get the glasses that say 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002. So, hey, somebody should save all that. Like put them on a wall and save them for like 50 years just for fun.
Somebody probably does.
Oh, yeah. Some museum somewhere has them.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So your New Year's went smooth?
Yeah, fine. We had a local party, and the theme was Roaring 20s.
Oh yeah.
And Pam and I went dressed. It was actually if you wanted to wear a costume, you could. Some people did, and I went as Howard Hughes, and she went as Amelia Earhart. We dressed up as.
And you went home together, like somebody said. She didn't get lost.
No, she didn't get lost. No, she made it home.
Okay. Good.
When we talked about it, I said, I could be her navigator, Fred Noonan. I said, no, that's probably not a good thing to bring up. And then somebody said to me, I sent a picture to a friend the next morning, and he said, what? You weren't Charles Lindbergh? And I didn't even think of that. That would have been better. Oh, well.
Oh. Nick was showing me yesterday. He got a new game, and he was playing it. Spence, did you play Doom?
Oh yeah.
No. Nick got Doom 2.
It's not called Doom 2. It's called Doom.
Oh, it's just called Doom? It
Yeah,
can't.
it's
the old one was Doom.
Well, this one's called Doom 2.
Is it the
Doom
you
as
just
well.
said it
This one's
called
called
Doom
Doom
2.
as well. Doom as well. It's not called Doom as well. Also called Doom.
I played that for hours. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh. Yeah, that was a good
Yeah,
game.
he was telling me yesterday when he was playing. I was watching him, and he said, "You need to get that." I said, "Yeah, right. I need something that will eat my time away, because you know you're gonna get into it and just play and play and play and play."
Well, this one's got a story, so I mean, you eventually finish it.
I remember the very first widely distributed role-playing game like that was people could run and get for free. It was called Castle Wolfenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was the one that was it was pretty crude, but oh my gosh, it was fun. Levels and secret doors and all kinds of stuff. It was just and that gave to what was Duke Nukem and Doom, and yeah, a lot of good games. And then they had a Star Wars one. I don't
Was that
remember.
one
Rebel something or other. That was the same type of role play. Find the secret passages, move to different levels. It was a lot more sophisticated.
There was one that was like you would go down a shaft and up. I mean, you never knew what position you were. It's like it wasn't flat running and playing. You would go and then you go down and
Are you talking about Descent?
Descent. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're making a new Descent too.
It's like everything, just like movies and everything else. They're running out of ideas, so they.
Is it kind of just like porting it over to newer platforms with the original concept?
Okay, so it's not actually a new Descent. It's a guy we saw at PAX in Seattle last year now. There's a guy that's making a game. It's not called Descent, but for all intents and purposes, it's a modern day Descent.
That was kind of a hard game.
Yeah, with the weird 3D movement. I played
kind of lose your bearings easy. But yeah, so Nick was playing Doom for how many hours?
Only a couple.
Yeah. Take a look at his face and you can tell he's lying.
Why? I did.
Only a couple. Yeah. Oh yeah. Only a couple yesterday.
That was the first time I played it.
Really? It seems like you were talking or during the show last week.
I bought it on I bought it when I was in New York and I couldn't play it on my computer there because it was my laptop. So yeah, I installed it yesterday and played it. Started yesterday morning.
Oh, okay. All right. If you live, talking about New York, this is interesting. And Spence, you mentioned Y2K. The New York City Department of Transportation said in a statement that parking meters are not currently accepting credit card payments and prepaid parking cards. The outage was caused by a configuration error in the credit card payment software used by ParkOn, a vendor for automated parking systems around the world, the DOT wrote. The software in the model of ParkOn meter used in New York City had established an end date of January 1st, 2020.
Oh my God.
And had never been updated by the company.
Great.
Cities worldwide using the same meter and software began seeing a series of cascading credit card rejections, starting in Australia as the calendar reached that date. New York City DOT crews are now in the field reconfiguring the software at individual meters.
They just wanted overtime. Aren't we glad that
I guess how many meters they have to do?
300,000.
14,000.
Okay. I had no idea how many. For all I know, they have them in people's houses.
You know what'd be great about that? You get a parking ticket because obviously you can't pay your meter.
Right.
and then you go to court and then get it. I can't imagine a judge is going to hold up a parking ticket.
No,
Oh,
not
you,
especially not for this.
but this is New York.
Yeah, I
Don't
know it's New
forget.
York, but I mean, still.
It's a good thing that the air traffic control network didn't have an end date. January 1st comes around 12 o'clock across the country, and suddenly all the radar screens that share information across the country go blank.
I mean, it's amazing that the company did not update it. I
Why
mean,
would you make an end date so
yeah, that's
close
true.
to like why not 2100?
Right.
Like why would you use an end date that is this service isn't 50 years old? It's probably been made in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was a kind of a weird negotiation point to say, if you don't re-up with us and have a new contract, it's going to end on this date and you'll all be screwed. And they just never bothered to update the software. Who knows? I mean,
I don't know, but what's wrong with just a meter that you can put? Oh, and they did say that you could put a coin and it'll work. It's just
coins? What are those?
Coins.
How quaint.
Well, the other thing you mentioned is prepaid parking thing, because a lot of people have those. You pay
prepaid
for,
cards. Absolutely.
Yeah, you pay for a parking card and
and it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd love to get a ticket for that.
Yeah.
Did you see now? I heard this the other day that some of the tolls that get into big cities, the idea is to discourage you from using carbon-based transportation, carbon fuel transportation. So instead of coming up with other ideas, what they do is they make it so impossibly expensive for you to use your vehicle. And places like Washington, D.C., people coming in from the D.C. suburbs, it can be $100 a day to drive into the city. $50 each way.
Yep.
It's like, how is this even, how do even people get away with doing this? It's insane.
It costs like $30 to cross the GW.
Yes. And I know I knew about that I remember when the tolls, the Hudson River tolls went to 15.
Yeah. On the Hudson River crossing?
Yeah. Because I think is it still just in one direction?
I have no idea.
Because it used to be, it was only, I couldn't remember if it's coming in or leaving. It used to be funny because they say, yeah, they charge you to get in, but they don't charge you to get out. Yeah. Oh, it's insane.
That's how it is in New York with the tunnels and the bridge. I mean, you only pay one way.
You pay one way. I just don't remember. It's the Port Authority. It's not
either,
the. There are different types of crossings. The other bridges that are within the New York area. It's the crossings between New Jersey and New York.
Yeah.
That are covered by the Port Authority. So yeah, well, another good reason to not be there anymore.
Well, all joking aside, I read a story today about the people that are leaving New York. It's like an astonishing number of people are fleeing the state.
So there were two conflicting stories that I heard this week that nobody actually put it together and compared them. One was people flee all these high tax states. And the other story was, which I suspect is fake news, saying, oh, well, because of immigration and new people moving to these areas, it's going to flip districts from red to blue. I said, well, wait, if you're losing population, are you not counting the so-called new population that's coming in? Is it just that you're losing so many people that the net new immigrants coming in displace the people that are leaving? So there's many, many, many more people leaving than you think.
Absolutely.
So what happens to the tax base? I remember when Bloomberg was mayor of New York, he says, I can't raise the taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers because there's like I forget what he said, something like 8,000 people in New York that pay 80% of the taxes.
Yeah, they'll leave.
And they are leaving now. I mean, de Blasio's raised taxes and done just absolutely insane stuff. that I was looking at some of the new laws that were enacted January 1st around the country, and some of them are just, you cannot. Countries have announced now that they're going to, like Ireland now is looking at banning the sale of any new vehicles other than electric starting in 2030. So what is that going to happen now? What's that going to do? Everybody's going to buy a new gasoline vehicle before that. So there'll be a huge surge and the prices will go crazy on people buying them because they'll still be able to buy it up till that date. So the big question is, okay, you're going to have all these electric vehicles. How are you going to charge them? Did you build a bunch of new power plants? What are your power plants now? Probably oil and coal. They're definitely not into nuclear. So what's generating their power? Wind? Oh, I can't drive my car today. The wind speed is only 2 miles an hour, so I can't generate enough electricity to charge my car.
There was another story about electric cars that some Western states, I can't remember which ones, they're going to start charging an electric vehicle tax because they're losing.
Oh, yes, the highway tax
Yeah.
that's on gasoline.
The gasoline.
Yes.
So, but and it's not. I mean, they're going like from 30 to 60 to 90 in a matter of 2 years. That's a lot.
Welcome
to the Green New Deal.
Yep.
So the number in New York is since 2010, 1.4 million people have left the state.
A net loss?
I don't know if it's a net loss. Probably not a net loss. That seems like it's a lot.
They're all here in Cary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Andrew Cuomo says that it's the Trump administration, the GOP, responsible for it.
Yeah.
So since 2010.
Yeah. We're responsible for 50 years of mismanagement. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Like that one.
It's just interesting to see so many people leaving an area. And you look at all the business in that area because, eventually the residents move first, then the businesses.
Yep.
So you'll start at some point, the businesses have to follow suit once you start losing all the people. And New York City doesn't have a problem, but the rest of the state got a huge issue.
Well, they're all subsidizing New York City.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a movement starting back in the 70s that you don't hear about it anymore, about making New York City its own state.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have happened. But the point was the people who weren't part of New York City didn't like the fact that they were subsidizing it. Now there just aren't enough people to fight it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll still go back to visit because I have family there, and I'll go back to the city because I might want to see a show. But
here is a story that I kind of want to get out of the way first. A temple of electronics known as Ground Zero for geek culture. The Portage Avenue Fry's Electronics closed last week after almost 30 years in business.
Fry's?
The Palo Alto store was a fixture for techies everywhere. It's sad they closed, said Abby Vakil, who works
Is it just the one store?
Well, right now.
They're in trouble?
They said you will not find an engineer in the Bay Area who hasn't gone to Fry's for some kind of prototype building. Fry's Electronics, a San Jose company that still has dozens of stores from California to Georgia, including 7 in the Bay Area, said on Twitter that it had not been able to renew the Palo Alto store lease. But customers from Sunnyvale to Seattle have been sharing photos and videos of empty shelves on social media for months, raising speculations that the chain may be heading for bankruptcy or shrinking significantly.
I remember I used to work for a company that was based in Santa Clara, California, and we would go to Fry's. And back then, it's still today. It's the Fry's. It's a lot like this. It's much bigger. You would go down the aisle, and all the equipment for soldering would be on one side of the aisle, and on the other side would be snacks. Literally, potato chips and Cheetos and all this other stuff. And you go to the next aisle, and it would be hard drive caddies and things like that, and caffeinated drinks. So it was definitely catering to the techie. You could go in there. It was one of the first stores that I had ever seen that was not like a backdoor entrance into a wacky kind of go up to a counter and get parts.
Mm-hmm.
It was an actual retailer that sold bulk computer stuff. You could go to, there's the aisle, they have all the computer cases. Here's where they have all the system boards. Here's where they have the processors. Here's memory. Here's, board parts and cables and all that stuff. And you could just go through with your shopping cart and just throw stuff in the cart. It was and that was I'd say that was probably like 1990, I don't know, 92, 93. And it was I think it was their first store, because they're based in San Jose, and it might have been the San Jose store. But I used to shop out there too from the stores that you'd find in a computer shopper, and they were the back door, hole in the wall, go inside. Who sent you? Joe sent me. Okay, I want this system board. Okay, all right, we have one left. And what's the secret? Handshake and all that kind of stuff, just to get good deals on parts.
Yeah,
it was fun. I always used to go out on a business trip out there, and if I had enough time, I would always hit the stores, and I'd always wind up spending hundreds of bucks on parts.
it's amazing why stores like that are closing down, and it's not the first one to do it. I mean, most computer stores didn't make it over like 10 years. There were a bunch of stores for electronics and computers. I mean, do you remember Lafayette?
Oh, of course.
I mean, people still buy, you know, stereos and stuff for home. Everything today is just online. It kills.
Well, I would prefer. I mean, I would. I'm sorry that Intrex is closing. Or
yeah,
are they gone already?
It's the only one left.
Yeah, there's one left, and it's like I love the idea that I need this. I can just go in there and buy it. And I miss, even though Tiger Direct was kind of they would go in and out as far as the quality of what they had in the store.
Right.
It was kind of spotty. That was a great place to go to get components.
Yep.
And when they had good sales, what was the other place? Remember Kazak?
Yeah.
I drive by that road a couple of times now in the last few weeks on 70, and I think of that place. And I ran across somebody's business card. I was cleaning out stuff, and I found a Kazak business card.
Yeah. The only one that still caters to resellers is still Draymond.
Draymond, yeah. And that's got to be tough.
It must be, but I mean, where would you go? Your computer, your desktop dies. The power supply goes. I mean, what are you going to order it online?
Best Buy.
What?
Best Buy's the
Best
only
Buy
place
has them?
cater. Best Buy's got a whole computer. Well, you need to go to a Best Buy. You'd be shocked. Seriously, next time you're out, swing by Best Buy.
Yeah, they do have a very good component section.
Yeah, they sell brand new Ryzen CPUs, i7s, i9s, and they're catering towards gamers. That's their catering thing. But they sell power supplies and motherboards and GPUs and the whole thing.
Cases. Well, you can wait.
Yeah, you can buy all of it. It's typically like in the back
interesting.
right corner of the store. I mean, it's back like in the no man's land of the store, but
It doesn't
they
matter
sell it.
as long as the word will get out if it's there.
But
so,
see, Well, but part of the issue is what you said, Spence. You liked having those stores available, but how often did you go to them?
Back 15 years ago, all the time,
Yeah,
because there
but
was no place to go. And I was managing labs and doing training classes, and I was constantly buying stuff. It was a great store. It's still around. I think they're even still using the same names, but they only do mail order in Morris. I think it's Morrisville or by the airport, called Stay Online.
Yeah.
You remember them, Online?
Yep. Yep.
They were great. They were for people that manage data centers. That was their original thing, and they had a retail store. You could go in there and buy rack equipment and all that kind of stuff.
Cables mainly.
Cables. Oh, well, that's what they do now. Cables and connectors. And you look at their. I haven't been on their webpage in a while, but he kept going. The guy Jim, I knew the original owner. He kept that going, and he moved the store to a warehouse environment. And I remember I was setting up new employee kits for engineers at Nortel. We had a new hire program, and I was part of the training for the new hire program. And I set up like a bag of cables that anybody would need to connect to equipment to configure it. It was network cables, serial cables, adapters, gender benders, they used to call it. And I would go there and I'd say, I need 30 male to female no modems, and they'd have them. So pre-made cables, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's places that were around that were really popular at one time.
Yeah,
gone.
It's a shame.
Oh, what was there was another place. Oh, it was Egghead.
Egghead, Circuit City.
Yeah, Egghead was good too.
Yep.
So what happened with Circuit City? That thing is bizarre because Circuit City was just it was Best Buy. Why did they close?
Bad finances. I don't know.
Yeah,
because they stayed alive in Canada several more years than they did in the U.S. Because they had a smaller retail shop. They were more like a Radio Shack environment up there. They weren't big.
What was
big
the
box
other
store?
One? Something. CompUSA.
CompUSA. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, these stores, we used to go in there just to look around.
I'd always find something.
You were, it's
you
just
know what
amazing.
You'll see? I genuinely believe this. I think you will see the rebirth of these stores, but they will not be national brands. I think you'll start seeing mom and pop type of all-in-one stores like this popping back up as the Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and all these other devices become more and more popular and more mainstream. Somebody's going to have to service this stuff.
Yeah, but
you can't afford to do it as a Circuit City or a Fry's where you have to subsidize all these stores that suck and don't make any money.
No, it's fine if you have a shoe store.
Yeah,
that has a component section in the back somewhere. I mean, people will find out. But you mentioned something. So if you wanted to buy an Arduino today, what store do you go? Best Buy sells them?
I doubt that they sell it. You probably can't buy them.
Huh. See?
CompUSA is still around, but they're an aggregator.
Right.
All they do is have ads. You click on, say, input devices, and it says, here's this mouse at Newegg, here's something else at Staples, here's something at Office Depot, here's something from Dell. So they don't exist anymore as a retailer.
Well, and I think the biggest issue, if you've been into a Staples anytime at any recently, that whole store is freaking furniture. I mean, half the showroom is office chairs and desks.
And cabinets, file cabinets.
Yeah. Now, and the reason Staples is still in business is because people have purchasing accounts for businesses and purchase all their supplies there, but consumers don't buy jack diddly squat at Staples.
Once in a while, I think the last couple of purchases I made at Staples were flash drives on sale.
And you bought them.
You bought them. I might go there to get the type of pen that I like. They have a specific kind of pen that I like, and a mechanical pencil, I'd go there because it just isn't, I want to get the right one. And then once in a while I haven't bought paper pads there in a long time because I bought so many of them. Yeah.
You'll see the rebirth. It'll be small little shops and whatnot selling this stuff.
That would be nice.
How about a van? And you pull up you put this magnetic sign on the side of the van, and you pull up to a shopping center parking lot. Computer parts.
Amnon.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you look at doing something like that?
I couldn't afford to. You still have to maintain
stock. Yeah,
stock.
that's the problem.
I do that to a point, but I don't stock the stuff. I can buy it from Draymond, and I can just go there in 10 minutes and get it. So if somebody calls and needs a power supply, a motherboard, and whatever, anything for the computer, I just get online or I call Draymond and I ask them if they have it and how much, and I come back and I tell the customer, yeah, I can go get it for you. It'll be here in about 20 minutes. But
Gotcha.
to do that, you need the space. You need a little space anyway, so people can come and look. Because a lot of that stuff used to be you go to the store and you look around, you find what you want, but you also, oh yeah, I always look for one of these and this, and you buy it. And that kept them going. I don't know. I mean, I had in the last, 10, 15 years, radio stations that need serial cards because lightning hit, and that's the first thing that gets hit because it has a cable connected to it. Gary used to come here all the time. I need 10 serial cards. I need 20 NICs, network cards. And I had those, but they were cheap to store, so I had them. And I was using them too for building machines, things like that. But it went down. I think more people also these days buy laptops. And you really need to know what you do. I'm not saying I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't have experience with laptops. I always find out that when you take one apart, you end up with a few parts once you put it all back. And I don't like that. So I don't do it. If somebody calls me about changing something internally that you have to take it apart, I say, no, we don't. But it'll be nice to just have somewhere where you can go and you can help somebody else build a business because you know that it's needed. You know it's needed. All right, next story, and that's also interesting. I don't know how I never heard about this happen, but a software engineer has designed a so-called USB kill cable that works as a dead man's switch to shut down or wipe a Linux laptop when the device is stolen off your table or from your lap in public spaces like parks, malls, and internet cafes. The cable, named Buskill, was designed by Michael Oldfield, a software engineer and Linux sysadmin from Orlando. The idea is to connect the Buskill cable to your Linux laptop and on one end and to your belt on the other end. When someone yanks your laptop from your lap or table, the USB cable disconnects from the laptop and triggers a UDEV script that executes a series of preset operations. Now, do people really get their laptop stolen right from your lap or from a table? Do people actually come by and just snatch it and run?
No, this is just typical Linux. We need something to do kind of thing. I mean, that's all this is.
I mean, it's
That is the most impractical thing I've ever heard. You're tethered to your. What happens when you have to go to the bathroom? You're gonna pack it all up.
you take it with you. Yeah.
Yeah, stand at a urinal, peeing, and you got holding your laptop in one hand so it doesn't disconnect and wipe all your data off. I mean, really?
A very, very long cable.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I would head for something like this to happen at a park, and somebody snatch it, and you go, "Hey!" They say, "Oh, here, you can have it back."
If I ever see anybody with that, I'm purposely going to steal it. Just pull the cable out so they lose all their data. You're a jackass if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Why don't you put a password on your computer?
Last night we went out with Katie and Donna. It was Katie's birthday, and when we got back, Donna goes, "Where's my laptop? I mean, where's my iPad?" And we looked in her car and in the truck and everywhere, and nothing. And she kept, "I know I had it with me." And then she was saying, "Oh, maybe I left it home because I was looking for my key and I could have taken it out of my pocketbook and laid it aside because I was looking for the keys." So I went outside again to look again in the truck. And when I came back, I mean, Katie had the phone and she said, "Oh," I said, "Oh, are you looking to find my device? Where is it? Can you tell?" She said, "Oh, we just found out you have to set that up before you lose it."
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, you do. You do.
So I don't know.
It has to be turned on.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Well.
Go ahead. What? I think. What were we going to say, Spence? Oh,
No, I wasn't.
Listen to this. A 1-minute power glitch on Tuesday, December 31st, partially shut down Samsung chip production at its Hwaseong chip complex in South Korea for 2 or 3 days. DRAM and NAND lines were affected. Preliminary inspection showed no major damage, but losses are still expected to be in the millions. 1 minute. Isn't that amazing? I mean, places like that don't have UPSs to keep them through I don't care how big, an operation, but the important operations should be backed up.
They had bypassed the UPS so they could vacuum the dust off of it. Or
Okay.
they never checked the batteries, and it went into backup mode, but the batteries were dead. That's a common thing.
Well, I don't
I
know.
remember visiting a local data center here that did hosting. This is an early colo hosting site, and they had a big diesel generator outside, and they tested that sucker once a week. Fired that thing up and ran it for an hour, and made sure everything worked. Cost them a fortune to do it, but that's their business to keep everything running. And they had giant UPS banks so that they could carry over. I think it was 5 minutes they had, 5 minutes of carryover for the entire data center. So it gave them time to start the diesel generator.
Yeah, you don't need any more, right?
Yeah.
When I was shadowing Paul, the engineer down here in Wilmington, in the radio stuff, every time we went out to a site, he had me do a generator
test.
Yeah, and we would use the ATS to crank the. Now, fortunately for that, we didn't have the. We had small UPSs to keep the equipment online besides the transmitters, because you're not putting a transmitter on a UPS. That's unrealistic. So we would crank the generator up and see what happens. And yeah, the UPSs would keep the switches and routers and whatnot
all
on
the
board.
the things around the transmitter, and
Correct.
then when
And then when
testing,
the generator would kick
right,
on, the transmitter would auto power on, or you
right.
could turn it on with the remote control. But yeah,
This
we
is
did those tests very frequently.
this is
Yeah.
a very kind of one of those remembered something that's not really related, but is. Amnon, you weren't in New York City in the 60s, right?
No.
No. So I lived on Long Island, and there was the great blackout of 1965, something like that, where all of New York State into New Jersey got blacked out. Something happened to the Niagara power grid, and it just had a cascading effect and knocked out power. And I mean, everything was out. And UPSs, what? That didn't really exist. Yeah, there was some battery backup for the phone company because that was kind of their thing, because
Mhm.
everything ran on 24 volts. So some phones worked for a while. But the amazing thing was, here we all are. We don't know what's happening, no word. Somebody in New York City figured out how to run their radio transmitter with a bunch of car batteries and hooked it up. So one station was on the air and giving news information, reassuring everybody. So word went around the neighborhood, tuned to whatever it was on AM radio, because they're actually on the air and giving out information about what Con Edison was doing or whatever. We weren't Con Edison, we were far out. We were Lilco, Long Island Lighting, which is now defunct. But yeah, I remember that, how amazing that was, that you could actually get a radio station on the air.
That was
Oh.
the power outage where the frequency on the power dropped first. It wasn't a total blackout
It was a
originally.
sag first.
Yeah, it was a sag. So there's a great clip on YouTube. I'll see if I can find the link in chat of a DJ on it was either WABC or WNBC playing a song, and all of a sudden Dan Ingram, the sound of the record starts going
Yeah.
like this, and they don't realize what's going on until you realize that the turntables were powered off the cycle from the power company, and everything was slowly fading away.
I can't remember if it's Dan Ingram or cousin Brucey, Bruce Morrow. One of those two DJs, a local friend of mine that I met when I started working for Synoptics years ago, was a big audio guy. And he somehow met one of those two guys. I don't remember. And he got from one of them a degaussing tool for heads on magnetic recording equipment. And he had it for years. And I actually have it. He gave it to me. He says, I don't need it back. Because I forget what I was working on. It was a reel to reel tape recorder or something like that. And it's literally a wand that you plug in, and it creates a magnetic field. And there's a process you use to create a ever bigger circle around it to degauss the head. But I have it's either Dan Ingram or Bruce Morrow, one of those two guys. I can't remember which. I have their degaussing tool.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I need to put it up on the wall. I got to figure out. I got to ask my friend who he got it from, so I can put a name under it, put a little plaque. Oh yeah, Amnon.
Yes, sir.
AM radio in New York, especially to kids, young people, was so important. ABC. I can't remember what the big one with cousin Brucey though during the day.
WNBC.
Yeah, and you'd be at the beach, and everybody would have their radios all tuned to the same stations. No matter wherever you walked, you kept hearing the same music.
Yeah, that was WABC.
ABC, and they had a 10-minute or 15-minute flip over alert for people at the beach. Now it's time to turn over, and you'd see everybody turn over. It was great.
Now everybody stick a fork in your
That's
the
right.
person on your right.
Because now you're fully baked. Oh yeah. Simpler days.
It was a lot simpler when I came to this. I came in '73, and oh, I've seen big changes, but I guess it's what you call progress.
73, I graduated from high school.
Huh?
And I was that year, my senior year in high school, I worked as a messenger in Manhattan. So 72, 73 till June of 73 when I graduated. I worked as a courier for a printing company in Island Park and took the train. I drove from school, got out early dismissal. I drove from school to Island Park. And then I got on the Long Island Railroad, rode it into Manhattan, and rode buses and subways to drop off and pick up print copy. Back then was the very beginning of electronic composition for newspapers and magazines. They did do it there at this shop, but I think it was to create masters for printing. They didn't actually print like it was. They had the electronic type. It wasn't. I guess they called it electronic typesetting because the shop had linotype machines. You remember that? These were these giant mechanical machines that would melt lead, and the person would sit there and type. It was a little typewriter, and it would create the lead in a strip with the type font, with the type on it that you would assemble into blocks that would then go to be printed. And newspapers used it, magazines used it. And their main thing was to provide photo quality master sheets that could be turned into plates to do printing. And so I used to take that into Manhattan, pick up work and drop it off, pick up stuff that had been edited. They send it back. They'd make the changes and then print it and send it back again. And so I was there during a blackout. I don't remember what that blackout was. There was another blackout in the 70s. Now, when I was working there, it was a brief that the subways went out for the day. Had to walk back to Penn Station to get home. Avenue E and East 3rd Street.
Avenue C
B,
and 10.
I should say. Avenue B.
Avenue A and 10. I mean, Avenue C and 10.
Yep.
That's where I live.
Yep. I had a customer, Avenue C and 3rd.
Yeah, that was right around the
Hell's Angels.
Hell's Angels.
Yep. Headquarters. Yep. Took my tie off. Be walking there with in summertime, you'd have a IBM. They actually let us wear short sleeve. Well, we weren't supposed to, but we wore short sleeve shirts. It's just so hot. And had on a tie. Yeah. So you were going to walk by the Hell's Angels headquarters, you had to take your tie off because they would harass you.
All right. Are you ready for specials?
Yeah. Let me open it up.
No, you don't need to.
I can just do it from memory?
Absolutely. You should.
So did anybody pick up the story that Google actually put shadow banning in their terms of service? Didn't hear that? Look it up. It's now in their terms of service that they can, at their own discretion, and they get really not snarky, but kind of like pompous about, well, we have to do it under these circumstances. So with that, we've been permanently shadow banned as of January 1st. No reaction? So that's not you with the glowing eyes. I know that, Amnon. So you don't wear hoodies. All right. And I just this morning, because I got a late start, I just went and I used the old format, which was having a category of product and then the 3 vendors. Mm-hmm. So I just used that because it went quick. And I didn't have, I like I said, I got a late start. So I did want to have it to you early enough to get it out there. So, all right, Computers 2K Now specials for January 5th, 2020. And everybody knows about writing out 2020, what the new recommendation is. If you're signing anything that can be perceived as a legal document, contract, or whatever, yep. When you sign it, don't say like 1 520, because the 20 can easily be changed to 2011, 2017, 2019. So the date can be easily, I won't say easily, but potentially changed. So always, if you're signing any kind of document that's a contract or anything like that, anything that could possibly be used against you if the date was changed, put the full date there. So starting in 21, it won't be a problem. It's just this year with 20. Very interesting. Okay, laptops. We have at Best Buy an Asus 14-inch touchscreen laptop, Ryzen 5 for $599, which is $100 off. Office Depot has a Lenovo IdeaPad L340 15.6-inch i3 for $349, which is $180 off. And Staples has an HP Pavilion 15-inch i7 for $569, which is $260 off the regular price. Desktops, all-in-ones. We've got a all-in-one at Best Buy Dell 21.5-inch touchscreen AMD A6 for $439, save $50. Office Depot has a Dell desktop i5 for $549, save $130. And Staples has an HP Pavilion i7 for $659, save $150. Tablets, Best Buy has a Samsung Galaxy Kids Tab E Lite 7-inch tablet for $99, save $30. Let's see, it's a little bit of a stretch. I mean, the clearance thing is wrong. That was left over from the old ad, so don't ignore that. But they've got a Asus 11.6-inch 2-in-1 laptop, and that's why I put it in the tablet category, because you can flip it over and use it as a tablet with a Pentium processor for $199, save $200. A good couch use, casual email use, whatever. It's not a real powerful computer, but fine for most casual use, web browsing. And finally, Staples has Bare 325 milligram aspirin tablets, 2 tablets per pack, 50 for $31. They had nothing. I mean, literally, I think they had the people who were hanging around when everybody was off did the ads, because there just wasn't much there. They were preparing it. Today is what, the 4th, the 5th. So they were probably working on this like right after New Year's, and really nobody was into it. So Best Buy has a Linksys MaxStream AC 3000 tri-band mesh Wi-Fi router for $199.99. That's $50 off. Office Depot has a whole house Wi-Fi system, any whole house Wi-Fi system priced $129 or more. They get 20% off. And this was interesting. Staples, again, kind of weird stuff that they had. There wasn't a lot of stuff out there in networking. In fact, under networking, they had a printer. That was it. There were no network devices. So I went out and searched. So I found this, and it was an inexpensive cable tester that you can test a cable or test a link. Like if you want to use it to test a connection between wall plates or something like that. Just a really inexpensive multifunction network cable tester for $11.89. It's called the 4XM RJ45 tester. It will work with RJ11 stuff too, but it tests continuity. It tests that the pairs are set up straight, correctly. So inexpensive, nice device to have in your kit if you do that kind of stuff. Storage, we have at Best Buy. This is the biggest solid state drive I've seen yet. 2 terabyte SanDisk Ultra solid state drive for $209. That's $110 off. Wow. You're building a server? That's a good price. Office Depot has a Western Digital 1 terabyte solid state drive and 64 gig USB drive bundle for $149, say $50. I guess I'm still not really sure about whether I would need a solid state portable drive. But a 1 terabyte portable solid state drive is still going to be about 129. So the fact that this is set up as a portable USB drive and you get the 64 gig USB drive with it, it's a good deal from a bundle perspective. It's $50 off. And Staples has a Seagate 8 terabyte USB 3.0 external hard drive. It's $149, which is normally $179, so $30 off. Accessories at Best Buy, and I couldn't find anything. Again, it's the weird after the holiday ad. Anything that really fit the category that I like. So I started looking around. That's why you see the Best Buy symbol here, circle is a different color around the B. It tells you that this is not from the weekly ad. But this is interesting. They have a lot of interesting monitor mounts. A lot of really nice flexibility. Some of them are 1 monitor, 2 monitors, 3 monitors. Some of them are stands that sit on the table. Some of them are clamped to tables, articulating. This one is a good deal, $53.99, $6 off, dual monitor desk stand. What's nice about it is that you can adjust the height, tilt, all that, and it's on a single base, so it doesn't take up a lot of room on your desktop. And it works with monitors up to 27 inches.
Does it come with counterweight?
Counterweights, if you just have 1 monitor? Yeah, it's going to lean a little bit. Yeah, it would be. That's a good point. That you need to consider weight. If you have 1 really small monitor on one side and 1 heavy one on the other side, I guess you could get a couple of C clamps or something to clamp the stand down. But I would guess most people are going to use the same size monitors.
Yeah.
There was a triple one that I liked because I thought if for a second I considered it for me because I have my 2 monitors on my other desk set up where they're actually mounted to the wall on brackets. And that was a great idea back when I did it back in probably, when was it? I guess it was probably 2011, something like that, 2010. So it's been that way a long time. But had I had something like this back then, I wouldn't have mounted it to the wall. The desk setup I'm at now, I built a bridge stand that raises up the monitors to a shelf that's about 6 or 7 inches above the desktop because the desktop I have has built-in outlets. It's actually a table that was from a training room. These are from a classroom. So it's got built-in outlets there. So didn't want to cover those up or have the monitors sit on top of them. So I built this bridge to raise the monitors up. So it was a big deal. Had these brackets existed back then, it would have been much, much easier. But yeah, pretty good stuff. Let's see. Office Depot has an APC 900 VA battery backup for $79.99, which is 20 off.
Nick, did you get yours?
So funny enough, Amnon, I saw that on the specials list. So I decided, let me look at my email. They canceled my order.
You're kidding.
No.
Who?
Office Depot. I ordered this thing on Black Friday and it was back ordered. I got it for $29.
What size?
650.
Wow.
And but they canceled the order. I don't know. It just says this case refers, please call us back. Your order has been canceled. I guess I need to call them.
Yeah, you need to call them and say, hey, but I still want it.
Yeah. Yep. They say that my credit card processor canceled the transaction. They must have tried. They probably tried charging it like 3 months later and got the coin.
Interesting.
Weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell them you want to be compensated for your inconvenience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Staples has a Logitech MK320 wireless desktop for $24.99, say $15. The price of this stuff just keeps coming down. The wireless keyboards are nice, except for the brand new ones, but the ones that have been around for a while, like that one. I'm actually using that one on my other desktop. This one I have the 20, what is it, the 240, I think it is. But All right. Monitors. We've got at Best Buy a 23-inch monitor from Dell for 89 bucks, save 70. Office Depot has a 29-inch LG ultra wide for 199, save 100 bucks. Right there, it's two monitors. So you don't need to have, you can just have one and have the, like you have set up with your desktop, Amnon.
Yeah,
You've
mine
got the
is
two sides to it. You don't need two
34.
monitors.
Yeah, it's 34. The
It's
one.
nice because I would love to put, like I have the Google Hangout screen in the middle of between my two monitors. So I actually have the break in the middle.
Yeah,
Excuse me. Hang on a second.
yeah. It's nice to have two different monitors because many times I will move the cursor to the right side and start typing, and I'm actually typing on the left side. But yeah,
Yeah, so I would love to have just one big wide monitor, and not have to worry about the way the split screen is. Because I noticed that my camera's in the center, and if I'm always looking off to the side, I'm always looking that way. When it's like I would rather be looking closer to the center or closer to where the camera is instead of way off to the side and down. But all right, so Office Depot has that 29-inch widescreen for 199, and Staples has an HP 27-inch widescreen. Not the same aspect ratio,
right.
but for 149, which is 50 off. Now, if you're looking to get a hip printer with not just the plain old gray colors anymore, now HP is happy to fit that requirement for you. So you can get a printer now that comes in different colors, right? Isn't that great? Coral, white, and gray. So this is a HP OfficeJet 8035, a OfficeJet Pro, I should say, with instant ink ready printer. What does instant ink mean? Like you
I
snap your
have
fingers
no
and it
idea.
refills itself? All right, whatever. 129.99, save 70. Office Depot has an Epson Workforce ES500W scanner for 349, save 100. And I think they have three different versions of this scanner. This is the middle one. They have a more expensive one and a cheaper one. And I'm not sure what the pictures look very much the same. I didn't get into look at the descriptions. So shop wisely and check the descriptions if you're looking at this. And Staples has an Epson Expression Home XP 4100 inkjet printer for 59 bucks, which is 40 off.
They don't have one for Windows 10, huh?
No, it's XP only. That's it. Only XP. All right, home automation and security. We have very inexpensive. These are great products too. The TP-Link Casa Smart Wi-Fi Plug Mini. This is just a little plug-in device, Wi-Fi controlled on-off switch. That's used your smartphone to turn stuff on and off in the house. Very inexpensive. If you wanted, I have a setup in my house for Christmas lights that I have a bunch of old X10 stuff. That's all I use it for every year. So I have the plug-in X10 X10 switches and controller, and I use it for the Christmas lights all over the house. It's convenient, and every couple years, one will go bad, and you try to replace them. It's pretty expensive, so I'm not going to go with that in the future. But it's very easy to have like one button that you press to turn all that stuff on. But this is an inexpensive way to do any kind of light control. This is indoor only. This is not an outdoor device. You can touch the side. If you want to press it and turn it on manually, if you don't have your smartphone, you can touch the side of it and it will turn itself on and off. $15.99, save $7. Now, this might actually work with, and I have to go look. I didn't look at whether it works with Alexa or not. Sometimes these things do not require a controller. It all depends.
Are you talking about the Casa?
Yeah.
Yeah, those work with
They will work with
home
Alexa, yeah.
and yeah, my parents. I have my parents. I
That's
got them
good.
a couple.
That's for 15, $16. That's really cheap.
Yeah.
No hub required. All right. So we've got at Office Depot, Google Home Mini Speaker, 24 bucks, save 25, half price. And we have at Staples, at Amazon, Blink XT Home Security Camera System. this is the 2-camera version. It comes with a little hub and 2 cameras. I believe they're battery powered. It's supposed to last up to 2 years for $137.99. I'm not familiar with this product. It just was um, something from a home security perspective.
Yeah, if it's last, they said that the battery would last 2 years.
Yeah.
Then it must be just photos. It's not video.
No, it's well, it could be video, but it's probably motion detection and only records clips. That's how the Netgear system works. Does not record live. It just notices motion and it's whatever you set it up to do. Say take a 30-second clip, a 60-second clip, or whatever it is you're looking at. So, and that's it for specials for January 5th to 2020 on Computers 2K Now. I got a question from a customer, interesting question, about he's a lawyer, and there's apparently a situation where somebody altered, and I won't get into the details, but somebody altered surveillance camera footage and wanted to know if there's a way to recover the erased. It's a traditional wired camera that goes back to a hard drive that's recording, an NVR drive that's recording the videos. Is it possible to go back and recover that stuff? I said, I have no idea. I'm sure it is somehow, but I don't know. Depends on what they did, how they did it, and how you would do it. It's like, how do you erase part of it? That's the part I don't know how they did it. So very interesting having a discussion about the implications of that.
Yeah, that's
I'd have,
can be done,
but if it's a continuous, it must break it up into
nothing.
files.
There is no anything that does continuous. Nothing does continuous. It's always motion detection, but it can be, and it is a bunch of little files. An hour may have 300 little files.
But the point is that this was done supposedly from the interface of the actual NVR itself. It was not, the guy didn't take, as far as we know, the guy didn't take the drive out, put it in a computer, and then able to access the files and look and delete files. Now, maybe they did that.
Actually, you can do it. That you do it from the interface. You play it, and you can delete
sections.
Yeah, it's not like
you do. You
it's
put
not
in,
like
you put,
it's not a section of a file. It's not a video editor, but you can delete that particular file.
You put it in a time period.
Yeah, you put it in a time period. You find the time, and then you can click delete.
I didn't know that. I have never tried it with mine. I need to try it. Mine has been, obviously overriding. The size of my drive is, I think, about 2 weeks worth of video.
I never tried to do that either, but it seems like it'll work.
Only a few times have I gone back to look at the video. Like I want to find out when a package was delivered, or if I want to find out if my daughter was at the house or something like that, I could go and look at the video to see, if a car was in the driveway. But the most important thing I did with that was one night I got up during the night, and while I was coming down into the kitchen, the motion sensor light on the porch went on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking outside. I said, "What was it? What was that?" And then the battery powered motion sensor light further in the yard went on. I was like, "Oh, something's out there." So I turned it on. It was a raccoon. I wanted to see what it was, and it showed me.
Yeah.
Oh well.
No, it comes handy in a lot of situations.
Yeah, thank God I haven't had to use it for any kind of law enforcement reasons.
I see something here in the story I never heard about. A paid Google magazine. Is there such a thing? Did you hear, Nick? suspense. Paid Google magazine.
No.
It says paid Google magazine users have reportedly begun receiving emails announcing that the service is shutting down. The email said that users won't be able to purchase new issues or renew magazine subscriptions via Google News.
So it's Google News, yeah. It's not Google Magazine, it's Google News.
Oh. The last subscription payment will be refunded within 30 days, the email said. The email said that users will still be able to access previously purchased issues in the following or favorite tab, depending on the app.
Yeah, so what it sounds like is that through Google News, you could purchase magazine subscriptions.
Oh, here it says Google News.
Oh.
Let me make sure this is right. Yeah, Google News discontinues print replica PDFs of magazines.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, so you could buy the PDF version of a paper magazine through them, but they're not going to do it anymore.
Interesting. Okay, so it's. I guess the magazines don't want to give a break to Google anymore.
Well, I'm sure nobody was buying it.
I mean, nobody's being green by buying the PDF version of the magazine.
I don't think anybody's reading magazines anyway.
Green.
I was surprised that Google News was still around.
I still read Home Handyman magazine. I get it as an actual magazine, and I have access with my subscription. I have access to all their web stuff, which is pretty good.
Oh.
I save them too because there's good projects in there. It's like I used to like Popular Science, but they've gone so far off into the weird eco-terrorist weird regime with their opinions. I don't even look at their stuff anymore. I still like Popular Mechanics because they're pretty well grounded, but I don't have a subscription to them anymore.
Don is putting something in the chat. Says, be very careful of the home automation equipment made in China. China now has its own underwriters lab, and of course, they cheat on certification. In other words, junk from China with a UL listing is dangerous.
So I wonder if they're making it look like
I don't know how
same logo.
That's what I don't know how they can do that, but that's China, you know.
Well, no, if it can do it and it's going to be close, who's going to prosecute them?
Yeah, well,
right?
That's true.
So, I've suspected that for a long time that a lot of stuff was counterfeit certifications. Some of the stuff I've seen is like just couldn't possibly pass UL certification. You remember the story? I don't know that it's still going on, but they created or renamed a town in China, USA. So products made there could be
geez,
labeled made in USA.
Yeah, I don't remember that story, but
yeah,
made in USA. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, Chrome. Google Chrome will get support for error codes, similar to the ones seen on a Windows blue screen of death. The idea is to provide Chrome users with a code they can search online and find debugging help for various types of crashes. Work on this new feature started in November last year, and the error codes are already under testing in the current Chrome Canary. That's version 81 release. The error codes will appear on the so-called SAD tab, also known as the Oh Snap page, which Chrome displays when a tab crashes. What do you think? What do you think?
I don't think. Actually, sorry, I was reading the article about made in USA in China. So Nick
made
is
in
muted.
USA, China.
I can't say it again.
Made in USA, China.
Yeah.
I didn't use
Well,
it.
there's a Wikipedia site about it, and there's it says it was a rumor that it was done in Japan in the 1960s, and that also the same rumor, whether it's true or not, was there and there's questions on the Snopes, of course, rings in on it about whether there was a town in China named USA, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So your question.
What do you think about error codes?
Error codes
being
in
displayed?
a
I don't have.
you know,
I
are
don't
you
think at
going,
all.
you know, with Windows, you would go and really, I mean, even in Windows, people don't search unless a technician is working on the machine. Most users of Windows, if you get a blue screen, you know, you restart the computer. Are you going to look and see what caused it, or are you just going to restart to close the tab, go
Trying
back?
to troubleshoot an issue. I mean,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah, if it's a
Yeah, you
persistent
will.
thing, if it happens once, no. But if it happens more than once, yeah, I'm going to go in and look at the log. If there's a log, or look if the screen has an error code, yeah,
The screen has an error code. That's what
yeah.
Chrome will do now. It'll put an error code on the screen on that. Oh, snap. And there'll be a
Is there going
number.
to be like one for you have gone to sites that we don't want you to go to?
I don't know. That's they're not saying what it is. They say that this is so people will be able to find information and figure out why it happened. Huh? It's I don't know many people that will use it other than techies.
Well,
Uh,
they might use it in that they take a picture of it and send it to you, so you can look it up.
yeah.
I mean, sometimes the error codes are completely useless.
Right.
An error has happened with the machine related to the operation of the machine and has been noted, and we're aware of it. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, this is and Google is always it's really strange why they do it, and it makes it so much harder to comply with what they want. As far as emails come back and it says uh, it was rejected, and look at this page to find out why. No errors, just that. And you go there, and it can be one of I don't know how many problems. And Ron was getting really pissed, uh, trying to figure out what is doing this, because especially now with listserv, mailing list, and it says, "Oh, it's been rejected due to temporarily rejected due to users' complaints." Now,
Users'
users'
complaints.
complaints. So it's an opt-in list somewhere that an organization is running for their members. So they will not tell you who complained. And I argued back and forth a few times. I said, look, if you want us to fix it, I need to know who complained so I can take him out. Otherwise, if they don't follow the rules and don't notify the moderator that they want to be out, how do you want us to take it out? And their answer is, it's your problem. The other thing is, it may say that, and it has nothing to do with users' complaints. The more it went on, now there are sites on the net that's telling you that this is how Google will categorize an error. It says due to users' complaints, go to that page and find out what to do. And a few times I went and I said, this when they ask, was this page helpful? No. Why? Because it doesn't really tell you what the problem was. And I figured, but it'll do something, but it doesn't. And that's Google. Now Yahoo is becoming the same way. I don't understand people that still have Yahoo addresses with all the breaches and all that, and they're still using Yahoo because it's free. I understand it's because it's free, but so is Gmail
Well, Hotmail
or Hotmail.
still around, but to use Hotmail now, you've had to go through hoops to get that to work.
Yeah,
Or
now
to at least to now, I don't know. I think there still is a web interface for Hotmail, I would assume. But to use Hotmail for like an Outlook, you had to go through various stages of migration
right.
with these Hotmail agents and Hotmail interpreters and all this other stuff to keep up with the changes that Microsoft made in their back end and to keep that working with Hotmail.
Yeah.
And it was dicey. And I'm getting a little nervous because I'm going to be setting up, I've got a customer, I'm going to be setting up a new Windows 10 laptop for him, and he's Hotmail. And I had to set up Outlook to work with his Hotmail. And it was tricky.
Is email at outlook.com. Does that cost?
I don't know.
No, it's free.
Yeah.
You can still you can get an I registered an Outlook.com email address last week.
What was it, Nick? That there was something that you sent me. I sent you something about the fact that Outlook. You sent me Outlook will allow.
Oh yeah, Outlook Mobile. I mean,
Yeah.
Outlook Mobile for the longest time has not supported hardly any of the features of Outlook. There was no shared mailboxes. There were all these features that if you were using a lot of shared mailboxes, you pretty much needed to be using Gmail because if you were using things on a phone, it wouldn't work. So they support shared mailboxes and some other stuff now.
And
Outlook's a joke.
It was something about aliases also.
Yeah. So it was replying from an alias.
Yeah.
Which is something that Gmail has offered since the beginning of time.
Yep. And I don't know how good or what is this going to do for us here, but Mozilla has announced that it's rolling out changes under the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, to all Firefox users worldwide. The CCPA, known as America's toughest privacy legislation, came into effect on January 1st, 2020, offering Californian users data protection rules better suited to today's world of data collection. Much like Europe's GDPR, the CCPA gives consumers the right to know what personal information is collected about them and to be able to access it. While the law technically only applies to data processed about residents of California, Microsoft has already announced that it will roll out CCPA right to all its US users so they can control their data. I would have to see this actually in action to say whether it's worth anything or not. The rest of the article that I remember reading said that the reason why Firefox is doing it all over the world is because it's easier and cheaper to modify Firefox to one edition instead of having a California edition and the rest of the world edition. But we'll have to wait and see. Is this that they? You know that they collected this and that information about you, does that give you options to delete it? Does it is it just something so you know what not to share? Maybe if there is, otherwise, all it is, it's going to make you pissed to know that they okay. So you're telling me that you collected, but what can I do about it? We'll have to wait and see. It could be an interesting thing. So who's using TikTok? TikTok. TikTok released its first transparency report yesterday, showing which countries have submitted requests for content removal as well as access to user data. China is notably absent from the report. The video sharing app owned by Chinese tech giant ByteDance claims it did not receive a single takedown request from Communist Party of China in the first half of 2019. And why am I laughing?
Why?
Because it's probably going through the government first. And
Oh,
they
of
already
course.
have all of it, so they don't have to ask. Interesting. I'm wondering why TikTok keeps coming up in the news as far
Because
as
it's incredibly popular.
It's the latest thing. It's the hip
Yeah,
thing
I
to
mean,
have
it's
right now.
yeah, but
very, very popular.
are you using it, Nick?
I mean, I have it. Am I using it? I mean, I'm not posting on it if that's what
Yeah,
you're asking.
that's what I mean.
But am I using it? Yes, I guess. Browsing it. The hot new thing.
The what?
It's a hot new thing, and it's based out of China, which has
Yeah.
got a whole bunch of issues in itself.
Yeah, it's right.
Did you ever do anything with your Amazon smart plugs?
I did one just to see that it works. And
How quick of a process was the setup?
oh, it was nothing.
Scan a QR code and bing,
That's it.
device works.
Amazing.
I was blown away.
Amazing. I give one
I've got
to Hannah.
I've got 3 of them sitting behind me.
Yeah.
And I haven't put any of them in yet.
This is Spence. That's the same one as the one you were showing today from TP Link.
TP Link, yeah.
Yeah, similar, but because it's an Amazon unit, it just seems to. I mean, the simplicity of setting it up is it's equivalent to as simple as it is to set up Apple devices with an iPhone, which is as seamless as it can be.
Yeah, all you have to have is the Alexa app, which anybody who has Alexa would already have it, and then you just add it and scan the QR code and it goes. Yeah, it was easy.
And they're very quick too.
Yep.
Because I had actually the other device I have is one of those Casa that Spence was talking about earlier. It's not the same one. It's a circular plug. And I had I had my first Amazon plug and my Casa on a routine to set. Well, I would say I'm home, and it would click on when I had my Christmas lights up. It would turn on my Christmas tree and my Christmas lights. And the Amazon one would click on first, and then about 2 seconds later, the Casa would get the command and click on as well.
That's because I had to go to China first for approval.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Politburo had to listen to it, and then stamp approval on it.
Fine with me.
So, Amnon, you're going to refinance your mortgage with Facebook?
No.
What?
Yeah. Well, that says big tech will expand further into finance in 2020.
Christ. What happened? What's going on with their cryptocurrency that has come under?
Did you hear there's like 56 different cryptocurrencies now?
Well, yeah, that makes sense. But what's up with all the?
Everybody wants to be in it.
What's up with all the? Facebook was in the Senate with it and everything. It's been rather interesting.
Libra.
Well,
yes.
somebody in the government agency wanted to ban them from having a cryptocurrency. Somehow, I don't know if they can, but They said it was not proper for somebody in their business to be cryptocurrency. Facebook Pay. New brand called Facebook Pay.
I was
Libra
reading.
is not going to be it.
I was reading a story about Facebook and WhatsApp.
What's up?
That in Europe, the authorities were following a terror suspect, and it sounded like they were going to do something around Christmas, and they were doing it through the person's WhatsApp application on their phone. And the phone, after, I mean, they were carrying this for a couple of months, and the phone went dark after Facebook notified 1,400 people that their phones were broken into, compromised. And that guy was one of those. And people, I mean, the discussion was, why would Facebook do that? But, you got to think about it. Facebook didn't know about this.
Because they're anti-American scum.
Well, I would say that the authorities should consult this with Facebook.
No, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. I don't know that Facebook would have done it, but here is work of
Facebook's liable to tell these people, hey, switch your platform so you can continue to blow up people.
Yeah.
Being tracked by the government. Scumbags that work there.
So it's kind of like a story that leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. But it happened. And here is something. Dell is trying to make its laptops more attractive to iPhone users. The Round Rock, Texas-based computer maker, said on Thursday it is releasing software that will let users mirror their iPhone's screen on Dell laptops.
Nice.
The feature will roll out in coming months as an update to Dell's Mobile Connect software, which added similar functionality for Android handsets in 2018. The update will also let Dell users drag photos, videos, and other files from their iPhones to their PC. That's great. The software requires the download of an iPhone app and works with Dell XPS, Inspiron, Vostro, and Alienware laptops running Windows 10. This will make it nice for people to be able to get their information, their data onto a PC versus into an Apple. And sometimes, to get a video from your Android to your PC, short of sending it through the mail or whatever, is something that many people don't do.
That's what you do? That's how you get it? You print it out and send it through the mail?
No, I connect the USB and I go to the drive.
Why not put it in the mail?
Because it takes time.
Well, I mean, it only takes a couple days.
What kind of stamp do you have to put on it?
Yeah, a forever stamp.
A forever. Yeah. Because sometimes it does take forever.
Yeah,
you got to be very careful because if you bend the envelope, the video will get distorted.
Just print it out every frame and then scan it back in and
that's it.
Recompile it. I mean, that's what I would do.
Print out all the binary information on paper and then.
Absolutely.
How do you get stuff from your phone to a PC, like a video?
Recently, Google Drive. I uploaded to Google Drive.
That's actually an easy way. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's something I want to share publicly, or if I want to send it to people, I'll upload it unlisted to YouTube so I can share the link. Um, but I don't really do a whole lot. I don't really send pictures back and forth. Tell you what, though, it's funny though. You have a link on your computer or vice versa, and you want to get it on your phone. It is a pain in the ass. There's not a good way to do it. There's never been a good way to do it.
If it's a video, typically, if I'm home, I'll just go to one of my computers and attach a cable.
That's it.
I don't have to
Okay.
I don't have to have iTunes on there. It just Windows will pop up and say, what do you want to do with this video? And I'll just download it and then I can do whatever I want with it from there.
I've got a tip for everybody. If you're having an issue connecting your device to iTunes and you keep getting an error, uninstall iTunes because it's probably the Windows Store version, and reinstall it from the iTunes website. Learn that this week. It's 2 different versions of iTunes.
No, they would never do that.
Yeah.
So you would get it from the iTunes site, the version for Windows.
Yeah. Get the version for Windows. I had an issue with some iPads for a customer of ours, and I, for some reason, could not get the iPads to connect with the Windows Store version.
Huh. Okay.
That's because they got it for free. They found a bootleg version of it out there, and that's what they put up.
And again, robocalls. So the fight against annoying robocalls just got another boost. Last week, President Trump signed the Traced Act into law, giving government agencies and law enforcement officials more weapons to go after individuals and companies who break telephone consumer protection laws. The bipartisan legislation was previously approved by the House and Senate, respectively, earlier this month before arriving on the president's desk. Among the act features are an increase in penalties for those scammers who knowingly initiate illegal robocalls, and the requirement that phone companies authenticate calls to determine if the number calling you is real. As part of the federal communication push, major wireless carriers and home phone providers have been implementing a verification process known as stir/shaken throughout 2019 to authenticate calls and fight spammers. In addition to raising penalties and pushing for authentication, the bill also gives regulators like the FCC and the Federal Trade Commission 4 years to go after scammers, as opposed to the 1-year statute of limitation that was previously in place.
The shaken and stir uses certificates.
Yeah.
And actually, that's up to the service provider to verify internally the person that's the user, which obviously they can because they have the phone ID. And, or depending on where the call is coming from, if it's a landline or whatever. And then they would then attach a certificate, which would then be part of a key store that's shared amongst the different providers. It all uses SIP, and it's part of the SIP invite and reaction when the session is set up for the call. So that invitation would go out. It would have the key information that would be compared to the public key store. It would be verified, and then the call would go through, and the carrier on the far end would say, and handshake and say, yes, we see that this is actually who you say it is, and let the call go through. It's good, but it's going to be tough to implement.
Tough? What? Tough because of the technology to do it?
No, it's because they have to get everybody to recognize and play together.
Oh.
Because it's SIP standard is not exactly hard and fast. SIP standard is a bunch of different potential configuration options that you negotiate. When you contact somebody using SIP, you negotiate back and forth. Okay, how if we're going to do video, what video quality? Okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and you eventually come to a compromise as to how this call is going to be set up. But not everybody implements all of the different features the same way. So I mean, it's better now. It used to be in the beginning, it wasn't easy to do because people implemented the stuff they wanted within their own system, and then it was the outbound stuff. But the SIP providers, the ones that do the actual connectivity, the carriers will have to work this out because they'll have to take the known user on their end, create the key, send it out with the invite, and then after the call is up and running, that stuff disappears. The key is gone, waiting for, they'll do another one. It doesn't stick around. It's not persistent.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've read about this when I saw that come out. I got something on my phone over was yesterday or Friday from Verizon saying that we're implementing this new spam tool, and it's going to work, going to lower it's going to stop you from getting spam calls, and you're basically automatically enrolled unless you opt out. But all it does is it takes suspected spam and sends it directly to voicemail. So it doesn't actually block the call. So I'm thinking that that's basically what I do now, because if I don't have a number in my directory, I don't answer it. But the thing is, though, how are they going to identify the spam? Because they don't use the same number. I get a call from the same spammer, might be 3 times in one day with 3 different numbers.
Yep.
So block that. That's what, when I first went to Verizon, I actually asked, so what do I do? Oh, just block that number. I said, but that's not the real number that person has. Blocking it does nothing, because the next time they'll use a different number.
Right.
And eventually I'll run out of blocked numbers. They didn't have an answer. So apparently there's an app too that they want you to download to help with this. And I heard the original app that they came out with was not good. So, but I'll look into the new one.
And if they use AI like YouTube was doing, that it kind of guesses, oh yeah, that looks like spam. That's bad, because it creates a problem. And I forgot to mention that I did mention that YouTube now, I don't get any more notices when I upload Computers 2K now to YouTube. I used to get notices of copyright for the intro, even though it's a purchased piece of music, and that stopped. But the
So
minute,
why don't you just have at the beginning of the everything you upload a picture of the receipt?
no, actually I had to file a report, some forms with them every show, and say, here's the license, here's this, here's that, and then they'll take it off. So they stopped doing this. The day they stopped doing it, Facebook started doing it. So now every week I have to go to, what Facebook will do is they will mute the audio unless you go there and you say, no, restore the video, restore the audio, restore the audio. They don't ask you to see a license. They don't ask you anything. All they want you to go there and say, restore the audio. Which again makes no sense, because everybody will do it, even if it is pirated. Yeah, okay, I'll restore it. So it's becoming harder for them to do, and I don't know why, because databases these days are sort of like a dime a dozen. What are we looking at?
You have to have some part of your day when you look at funny cat videos. Right? So apparently, the treadmill is where the cat took its nap,
Uh,
and it hasn't been on in
yeah,
a long time. They
yeah.
turned it on, and this is how the cat is reacting, trying to get back to his nap spot. So. You could probably make allegories to a lot of other things in life here, right? I would like to be young. I would like to be young again. No. I would like to do this over again. No, I can't. I would like
Nice.
to take the high ground. Nope. Oh well.
All right. It's that time of day again. Anything else anybody wanted to mention?
No, sir.
Nothing?
Nope.
No, not a thing. All right. Well, again, Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks, Spence. Thanks, Nick. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Dina. Thanks, everybody, for turning to Computers 2K now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Talk to you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.